While I have had a lot of women talk with me about their relationships or ask about dating and whatnot, one of the other things that people have also asked me over the years is how they can help their child, teenager, young adult, be set up for healthy relationships and a dating life, and what kinds of things that they as a parent can help discuss or raise them in. And for me, one of the things that I had to look at, like, even though it was an abusive relationship and I was held captive later on and had no choice, I also wanted to look at the things that went wrong before it got to that point and why there were certain red flags that I don't know, didn't close off sooner. And I realized that some of that came from, wanting to mean the best, but sometimes good intentions can get us into sticky situations. And that is something I feel like I will always be learning in life, because we want to believe the best in people and we want to be there for people. At the same time, we also need to learn from things and walk in wisdom. And so one of the things that I learned was that in sometimes wanting to be loyal and be there for people, even when they weren't necessarily healthy for me or good for me or had good intentions that came back to bite me, that sometimes me wanting to not necessarily cater, but basically that, in a way of, being a good person to them, being helpful, wanting to give grace and reach them, that acting that out consistently in some friendships and connections set myself up for failure in having a good and healthy dating relationship, and being able to see those red flags and those cautions and break it off sooner before it got to that abusive level that it did later on. And that's no fault of my family and other things. I think that no matter how well you're raised, there is always something that is a pro within our character, unchecked, can turn into a con. And so we have to be constantly learning those things about ourselves. And so I tell parents, if you want to help set your kids up for success in a healthy dating relationship, I've had these talks with my son as he's 14 now. While we want the best for some people and, want to be a good friend to them, sometimes certain distancing is necessary for the health of that friendship. And the more that we can learn that in friendships, the more that we can walk out healthy dating relationships and knowing how to go forward, when to go forward. And sometimes people can be healthy for someone else, but they're not healthy for us. And so that is something that I even had to recognize in some guys that were interested in me. They were not a good match for me. My husband Josh was, but they eventually married someone else, and the situation, it was probably good for them. And my cautions were valid for my situation at that time. And some people are at a different point in their growth journey. And so sometimes we can see potential, but we can't always hang around to see it come to fruition. And sometimes if we hang around, it will not come to fruition. So sometimes letting go is loving them, and it's best for both parties. And so those are the kinds of things that I advise parents of and for it to start young, like even kids, teaching them healthy friendships and healthy grace, healthy forgiveness. And I think that we're doing better now as a society talking about manipulation and toxic relationships and gaslighting and those kinds of things. We talk about manipulation more than I think we ever have, and that catering to it is not healing a friendship or a relationship. Giving into manipulation is not good for them, and it's not good for you. And so like those are the kinds of things that I talk to my son about in relationships, and standing your ground, but not having like an attitude. Like we have to keep our attitude in check, we have to keep our spirit in check, and be careful how certain situations change us, that we change for the better, and that we remain soft but wise and firm, and that we can walk that balance of those healthy boundaries while remaining loving and warm. And so the more that you help them walk that out in their friendships, the more you will help set them up for a healthy dating relationship and marriage, and not getting themselves into those abusive situations and abusive marriages.